Hey, what's up, guys? It's your main man, Rise Above World, with some tips and strategies that you might find useful. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So we are looking at a game. I'm gonna start off with 291, and I think my high this week it says 861 points. And can anybody tell me what's wrong with this game? That's right. It's terrible edge control on the left side of the board. That's like one of the worst examples of edge control. So basically, edge control is having the effective placement of blocks around the edges of the board, consists of more blocks touching the edges of the board than empty spaces, allowing access to block placement. As you can see on that left side of the board, I have no access to placing any blocks, but we're going to try to change that. Now, on this particular video, I'm going to talk about block clustering. Now, what I'm doing right now is an example of block clustering. And basically, I'm just placing blocks on the board together with other blocks in the most strategic way I can to help me get the highest score. And sometimes when you are using like a particular block clustering strategy, you're not always in scoring positions. Now, at this particular junction, I have terrible edge control over there on the left side of the board, but I have no issues with that because I know that I can easily get access to that side of the board if I need to. So I'm gonna open it up, and then I'm gonna place that piece right there. I have options, but I'm going to put this down in there and set up a one-off because I want to open the board up and eventually try to open up the isolated square to the bottom right side of the board. And I've placed it right there and score. Now I'm going to take this L pattern and create a one-off, even though it isolates a square over there on the left side of the board. Now this is a scoring opportunity right here, but look how many squares it isolates. It's better and more efficiently to score like that. Now this is an example of block clustering, and like I said previously, it also is directly related to comboing. And instead of getting a few points right there, I was able to get more with the combo. Now, without even putting too much thought into it, I'm gonna take this horizontal 5-block pattern and place it up in the top of the board. And the reason why I'm gonna do it is it forms a great cluster. I can put it anywhere, but the reason why I'm putting it up at the top of the board because it creates a one-off, and it also satisfies edge control. Now, this is going to be another example of how I use block clustering. Now, I could take this particular block pattern and put it up at the top and get a score, but you know, it's still early in the game. I don't think that's as important as creating a cluster. And so I'm going to put that down there and cluster it with those blocks that's already down there. And then I'm going to put that diagonal with it. Now, there goes another diagonal of death. And I don't think I'm going to have any problem placing it. And but where I put the diagonal of death, I think is worth noting. I'm going to cluster it in a specific way that's going to help me out in the long run. Now I can put it right here, right? And that wouldn't really be good. Let me go ahead and get that score. So with this diagonal of death, I can put it right here, or I can put it up there. Which one do y'all think is the best way? Right here Y'all think I should put it up here or up here? Now this is going to be a whole lot better move. And why? Because it was isolated. Now I have access to it, when I come back and score. So it really wasn't isolating too much. Now, another thing, that I like to do a whole lot is when I know that I have an easy score, I oftentimes use that as the last option. I try to figure out the blocks that I particularly don't know what I'm going to do with and try to manipulate those first. Now here, this is a really good block clustering moment because only one of the 3 blocks that I have to use I can actually score with, and the other 2 blocks I have to place them somewhere even though I can't score with them. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this up at the top because it creates a one-off at the bottom, even though it's not necessarily in line with edge control strategy. I just knew that I was going to get something to fulfill that one-off at the bottom. Now, I would like to take a brief moment to talk about complementary block patterns. And you're looking at a few of them down there at the bottom. All right. So that backwards L and the square right here, the reason why they're considered complementary because they cancel each other out. And there's other block patterns that also cancel each other out. And I plan on making a whole video on that, but just make a note that when you see particular block patterns, when you first get them, when you first get a score and you get a whole new series of 3 block patterns, you should already have an idea of how they can fit in with certain other blocks, and you can manipulate them on the board. So right now, I'm not going to cancel these complementary blocks. I'm just going to go ahead and open up the board a little bit, but it is going to bring me to another juncture to where I'm going to have to place these particular block patterns in the most strategic way because the board layout is very tight right now, mainly because of no edge control over on the left side. So I know that I'm going to put this, I'm going to score right here, but whether I come all the way up or go down a little bit is going to be very important. So I'm going to try to cluster these 9 scoring blocks in the best way. I think this is going to be the best way. Put it up there to create the one-off. And there goes everybody's friend, the diagonal of death. Now, it's okay because I have a nice little place for it right there. I can put it there and get a score. And for everybody watching, as you can see, clustering your block patterns in the right way can prove effective. So I'm going to beat my weekly best. And now I'm going to move on to my monthly. Even though it's not that high, it's still my monthly best on this device. So this is kind of another block clustering moment because I can move it to the right or I can move it to the left. Okay, so this is another great clustering example because we are not going to be able to score with this block pattern anywhere we put it at, okay? And so we need to put it in a place that is strategic and is going to help us out in the future. So I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of time to figure it out. Now, that's probably where I'm gonna put it at because it creates a one-off right up there in the corner, and it also leaves a whole lot of open space in the middle of the board, as well as a whole lot of open space at the bottom of the board. So when it comes to clustering this particular block pattern that I can't score with, it's very important to put it in the right place. So I'm gonna put it up here, and it looks like I put it in the right place because I have an opportunity to score again, and I think I beat my weekly best as well. And now I have some more options. All right, now we that good play, believe it or not, took us to another block clustering opportunity. Now, as you guys know, I can score at the top in that top right hand corner, and then I could come in the bottom and make it a combo. But upon further examination, I can put all three together, right, and cluster it and get a 2 times combo. So again, we can see where block clustering is really turning out to help me out, even in a tight situation like this. Because when we look at the board right now, I don't really have edge control on that left side, and I mean at any second I could get the wrong block pattern. It could be over with. And like right now, as I'm looking at the board, I do not see a way to score with these particular block patterns. So however I place them, it's gonna have to be they're gonna have to be clustered in a way to where whatever type of block patterns I get in the next series, I can capitalize off of them. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that easy score right there, and I can either put this up here or down here, and I think that's gonna be the best place for it. Why? Because I can put this down here, and it leaves me a whole lot of open space up at the top of the board, just in case I get a diagonal of death or something, or some other crazy block pattern. But now that I look at it, I think that might be the best play because that sets off a 2 off up there. So yeah. So sometimes you gotta take a second look and take your time. But yeah, I like that cluster even better up there, that 2 off cluster. Even though I didn't originally like it, so I'm gonna go ahead and take that score. Then I have a friendly diagonal. That's gonna be a good play right there in the corner. Why? Because it sets up a great cluster because I can just slap that right in. It fits right in like a glove. All right. So now I got 2 diagonals of death. I apologize. 1 diagonal of death and his little brother. All right. So moving right along, this is the same game, and we are at another block clustering junction. So I have a block pattern left that I'm not going to be able to score with, and so I'm going to need to place it somewhere. I'm going to need to cluster it with some other blocks that's going to be the most effective, even though I can't score with it. So I got a few options. Like I can put it right here. I can also put it. I can put it down here. I can put it down at pretty much the bottom or the top of the board. I got a few places I can put it at, and it's going to be very important where I place it at. Like if I place it right here, I'm gonna be isolating a square at the bottom. I don't think that's good. I can place it right here. That's gonna be creating a 1 off. I can cluster it right here. That's gonna be a 1 off to my right, and then I can cluster it right here, and that's gonna be isolating the square up at the top. So depending on where I cluster this particular block pattern is going to be, it's probably gonna make the difference whether I beat my monthly high score or not. So I'm still in the game, and the diagonals of death are still gunning for me, but I'm not gonna complain because I still have a few plays left. All right, so moving right along, we're just gonna do a quick analysis of the board layout. And as you can see, we have quite a few isolated squares up at the top of the board, the bottom left side, the top left side, and even the top right side, and even the side right side. This is a edge control nightmare, but we have a little bit of hope because down at the bottom there's enough open space to maneuver with. All right, so moving right along, we are at another juncture to where effectively clustering your blocks together is going to be very effective, because as you can see, I can get a score down there with my cross pattern, right? And which is perfectly okay. Or I could take my 7 block pattern and put that on top first, and then place my cross pattern beneath that and get the big combo together, which is gonna turn out to be a lot of points, and also clear out the board. And just with that one particular move, that's gonna bring me one step closer to beating my monthly best. All right, so moving along, I think this is going to be the best way to cluster it, even though I'm isolating a square. Sometimes rules do conflict, but they work out for the best. And so with that, even though I isolated it at first, I was able to beat my monthly best score. All right, so moving right along, we are right at the cusp of possibly beating my all-time score on this device. And so I have a few options. And so, one of the first things I'm looking at is putting this up there, because it seems like it satisfies, edge control, or possibly placing that down there, and then coming back with a streak, and that's gonna take me one step closer to beating my all-time score on this device. And I think using the block clustering technique overall has proven to be quite effective. And hopefully I've showed you guys a few tips and strategies that you can use to help you out in the future. And just a quick note, those blocks down there at the bottom are all complementary squares or block patterns. So I am going to put them together and beat my all-time score. So I think that using block clustering strategy effectively can be a really good tool in reaching your high score potential. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.